everybody, I'm in Fort Lauderdale Airport getting ready to go to New York City for the first time since this whole COVID thing started. So we'll see what it looks like. Okay, just landed, waiting at LaGuardia for a cab. Inside the cab there was this thick layer of plastic that separated the front seat from the back seat, which makes sense with COVID out there because these cabbies are spending entire days with hundreds of different people that they don't even know inside a very enclosed space. Okay, I'm up here on the 33rd floor, and it's not hot out. It's kind of like Florida weather. Not hot, not cool. Sort of in between, like 70s. Okay, I just want to say something real quickly about the hotels in New York, and I experienced this in Chicago too a few weeks ago. They're not providing maid service. I don't know if any of them are, but this is a Wyndham, and in Chicago I was in a Hilton, and they didn't tell me in Chicago. Just after the second day they hadn't cleaned the room or given me new towels, they said they're not doing it anymore because of COVID-19. And so when I checked into this hotel, I asked. They weren't going to volunteer the information, but they said no, they don't send maids into the room because it endangers maids and the customers. I guess there is a risk with people coming in and out of the rooms. I do kind of prefer it this way myself though, because I can keep my room clean. And when I need new towels, I just call for new towels. They bring them up. I need more coffee for the coffee maker. We get that at the front desk. So it's not a problem for me. I actually kind of like it. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you're staying in a hotel, either in Chicago or New York, you might want to ask when you check in if you're going to get maid service. New York City has required proof of vaccination in order to dine inside a restaurant. Okay, tonight I'm having dinner at this really interesting place, Fresco, right behind me. It is on 52nd between Park and Madison, and it's a really fun place, so come on. This is a family-run restaurant. The food is incredible, the atmosphere amazing. They built out this whole outdoor area, plus they have a really nice indoor area. And there are two sisters from this restaurant that have a show on Instagram Live called the Skotos Sisters. And my waiter just happened to be a waiter that used to work at the Breakers on Palm Beach. So a little bit of a Florida connection. I am on the rooftop bar called Upstairs. It's on top of the Kimberly Hotel, and it's beautiful out here. Okay, I have noticed all over the city these little outdoor cabana things have popped up, probably because of COVID, and like this one has a plexiglass ceiling, so you'd be out of the weather. There's another one up here. It's like little places you can dine outside of the actual restaurant. This is an example of one of the little outdoor dining areas that restaurants put up, and it is kind of remarkable because it takes up at least a couple of parking spaces right here on city streets, and all the restaurants have them. And what it did, it kind of worked out really well for restaurants because it gave them a lot of extra real estate and a whole new clientele. You know, there are people that want to sit outside. And right now, you cannot sit inside if you can't show proof of vaccination. So unvaccinated people can sit in these outdoor areas. There's Carmine's over there, and they have a lot of outdoor seating. Like I was telling you, a lot of restaurants have built these outdoor seating areas, And I know back last winter when they were allowed to serve, they had heaters in those outdoor areas, and they're probably going to need them again soon because it's starting to get cold. Okay, what's it like out there now on the streets of New York? Everyone in Florida wants to know that because for a long time, New York had some major shutdowns. While the state of Florida pretty much stayed open, that was not the case in New York City. Many people on the streets of New York are wearing masks and many are not. And social distancing, well, that's pretty much impossible. You really cannot compare New York City to any city in Florida. There is no city in Florida where this massive amount of people walks around daily on the streets. It's just a whole different story. So I do have a lot of empathy for the people of New York because this is a very difficult thing to control when you have this many people living and working and walking around in a downtown area. They are doing COVID-19 testing all over the streets of New York. Everywhere I went were these test tents, test vans, and people are getting tested, which kind of makes you think these people have symptoms or for some reason may think they have COVID. And I kept getting these pop-up notices on my phone the whole time I was there. They were exposure notifications from New York State Department of Health. You had to sign up for it if you wanted to be notified if you were around someone with COVID. I think that's kind of unnecessary because I think anyone that is in a big city like this, out on the streets around thousands and thousands of people, knows that there are people out there with COVID. Central Park is filled with people. It's really kind of nice. You see the city behind me, and I like the overcast skies because that means I can be out here without burning up. It's a little bit chilly. Very nice. I'm at Tavern on the Green in the park. I'm going to go in for lunch, and I have to put on a mask to go in, and I have to show my COVID-19 vaccination card to get in. They did make me show my vaccination card on my phone to get in. And technically, everyone in here has to be vaccinated, but I don't know how hard those cards are to duplicate, especially if you're just showing a picture of them on your phone. But anyway, I'm not worried. Okay, I just walked through Central Park. It's crowded with people having birthday parties, little kids running and playing, lots of stuff going on in there. And now I'm going to walk down toward 42nd Street. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people out on the streets today. It's really quite nice because the temperature dropped a little bit, and coming from Florida, I like that. Okay, Broadway is back on, and there are just throngs and throngs of people down here. Very, very crowded. That's why I have my mask, and I put it on when I get into the really thick concentrations of people, but looks like everything's open on Broadway, and I really wanted to see this one, but it's totally sold out. Okay, that's Hamilton. Right there on Broadway. I learned shortly after filming this that Aladdin did have to close its doors again due to COVID infection amongst its company. Here in New York City, you need to provide proof of vaccination to eat indoors at a restaurant, to go to bars, to go to gyms, to go to entertainment venues, and essentially that's a vaccine passport. Now the state of Florida, our governor has banned vaccine passports, but there are several places now around the country, and probably more joining them, that do require proof of vaccination to get into these establishments. And I know San Francisco is one of them. Los Angeles, I believe, just within the past week, became one, and I know that New Orleans is because I was there about a month ago and had to show my card to get in. So it's a whole new concept. I did talk to somebody here in New York, and they showed me on their phone the app that a lot of people have that has their information in there, so they just show the app. I've been showing just my own vaccination card, a photo of it on my phone, and that seems to be working. So it's something that we might have to get used to. I don't know how people feel about this, but I do totally understand why it's necessary in a city like this, because they're really battling this pandemic, and the population density is so heavy when you're out on the streets. You pass so many people in just a few city blocks. So I do understand, and it's kind of still summertime here a little bit, so people are still outside, but when everybody has to start going indoors, that's when I totally understand why they are requiring proof of vaccination. Okay, everybody, I'm in the airport now, getting ready to fly back to Fort Lauderdale Airport. And I just want to say I had a great time in New York City. It's all up and running. Thanks for joining me. See you next week. Bye-bye.